Hi guys, it's Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft. Continuing in my shotgun series, today I want to touch on the next topic. First I talked about gauges and what is a gauge and their relative power. Today I want to talk about choke, because that seems to confuse quite a few people. Now one of the good things is I used to do gunsmithing, so I've got some barrels here. This is a piece of shotgun barrel. Now, it looks straight, but in actuality, if you measured it, a shotgun barrel tapers from the end where you put the shell, called the breech, all the way to the muzzle. It's a tube like a long, thin funnel. And what happens is as that shot that's coming from the shell is moving down there, it is slowly being squeezed slightly tighter. That squeezing and the final size that it exits the end of the bore is called choke. Okay? Like you would choke something. Now that was derived because the original guns were what we call cylinder bore. That means just a straight tube, nothing in it. And they found by making the end of the barrel slightly tighter, they got a little more range out of their shot column. And what that means is, if I squeeze it down a little tighter, when it exits, it goes a little further before it expands to a given size. Now we're going to use a size of a 30-inch circle. The range from the muzzle, that when I fire, all the pellets will have expanded out to fit within a 30-inch circle and fill up the circle. Okay? That's my target range. And we're going to say everything is going to be in that 30-inch circle. A cylinder bore should put all of its pellets in a 30-inch circle at about 20 yards, give or take, depending on the gun, the shot, the load, etc. But it's a good rule of thumb. So think cylinder, 20 yards. Okay? Improved cylinder, 30 yards, because it's tightening it up a little bit more. Modified, 40 yards. Full choke, 50 yards. Extra full choke, 60 yards. Now that's not exact. That's a great generality. And I know you're hearing it going, oh, Blackie's about to tell me I can shoot 200 yards of this thing. You just watch. No. It's a generalization. And each of those tightening, we're trying to keep it into a 30-inch, and we're trying to get a little greater range. Now, if I have a gun that's an extra full choke, and I'm using a 3.5-inch shell, so I'm using the huge payload, a 2-ounce payload out of a 10 gauge and a 12, and I'm aiming at a 3-inch circle at 20 yards, how much do you think I'm going to pepper that circle? Wow. That's what a turkey gun does. Quite often turkey guns have rifle sights for that reason, because we're trying to hit a very small target that might as well be wearing Kevlar, he's so armored, and we've got to absolutely be definitively whop to get a good clean kill. So we're trying to neck it down as tight and as hard as we can and put the biggest payload for the biggest punch. Okay? Now, what are the chokes good for? Well, what am I hunting? Quail in thick cover like I live in here, of fields and long wood lots and things like that. You can't see them unless you've got dogs to run them, and when you spook them and you step, they just explode at your feet. And they're like little fighter jets. They're ducking and dodging and they're going. Well, that means by the time I bring my gun up, they're going to probably be 20 yards or less in this thick cover. If I don't get a shot off before it travels 20 yards, he's gone. So I need a cylinder bored gun to throw that 30-inch circle quickly. Think of it like casting a net. I need it quick, here, right now. Now, squirrels, rabbits that I'm normally going to see a little further out, modified. Because now I've got that 30 to 40 yard range somewhere in there. I can shoot closer, but I'm going to realize that my shot pattern is going to be small, so I may want to shoot a little off center so I don't blow it to pieces up close, you know what I mean? Now let's say I'm hunting geese. Big, 12 gauge. Heavy, 3-inch or 3.5 inch. And I'm going to hopefully get them at 20 yards, but it might be 30 or 40 yards where they flare. So I'm going to want a full choke, biggest, heaviest load I can get, because my animal's big, my range may be long, and I want to anchor out there. So for that choke, I would want full choke. For turkey, I want extra full choke. Okay? Now, when I was a kid, there's only 1 or 2 variations of chokes. Otherwise, it was, if I had a gun that was a cylinder bore, well, that was my quail gun and walking out in the backyard and shoot rabbits gun. If I wanted something that I needed a full choke for, I had to go buy another barrel or I had to go buy another gun, because this gun wasn't designed for it. Wrong choke. Limitation. Then somebody came up with the idea of one of these. Now, I'll give you a better look at this. This was called a poly choke. And it's basically where the end of the barrel has been split, and it's got this knurled knob that you turn like that. And then there's indications right here that tells you that it's cylinder bore, full choke, modified choke, or whatever. And I could dial this, and the inside would expand or contract to produce the choke that I wanted. This was even vented. It come off of an old Sears gun to help reduce the recoil of it and the blast of it. This gave a gun, although that was ugly up on the other gun, but now I could have one gun and dial it down and use it for a full choke, or dial it up and use it for quail. Pretty innovative. Today we have screw-in chokes that actually go into the barrel, and so I can buy a single gun and just put the different chokes in that I need for the range. And that's what you should think of when you hear the word choke. Short, medium, long, extra long range. That's what it's for. Cylinder bore, close range. Improved cylinder bore, a little bit further. Modified, usual, that should be the benchmark. And if you're going to get one, get a modified. Okay? Long range, full choke. Small target like a turkey's head, extra full choke. Now, I've got one more thing to bring up about chokes. Since it's squeezing in the barrel, if I fire a slug, which is a solid hunk of lead, down the bore, it has to comfortably go down that bore. Modified is typically considered the largest, the tightest choke you can use with slug. So if I am going to be going hunting and I'm going to be carrying slug, I need a gun with a modified choke in it. I can shoot cylinder bore, improved, or modified with a slug. Do not shoot full choke or extra full choke. Will it fire? Yes. Are you overstressing the gun? Yes. Over time, can it damage the gun? Yes. So don't do it. With screw-in chokes, we eliminate that. Simply use modified. I hope this clarifies it a little bit for you guys on how the different chokes relate to what we're using them for. Okay? Any questions or comments, please leave them downstairs and I will be happy to answer you one-on-one to the best of my ability. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.